It all started at a crowded livestock auction where no one wanted the quiet, battered German shepherd in the last pen. No one, except Liam Carter, a young rancher with rough hands, a soft heart, and a gut feeling he couldn't shake. With a single bid, he didn't just buy a dog, he made a promise. But Titan, the shepherd, was no ordinary dog. Haunted by a past no one knew, he refused affection, flinched at touch, and trusted no one. Still, Liam gave him space, gave him time. Day by day, the walls between them began to crack, from silent meals and quiet nights by the fire to a rope toy laid at Liam's feet. The first gesture of trust. And then came the turning point. A stray herd scattered, panic in the fields, and without a single word, Titan moved. Fast, focused, flawless. He wasn't just a dog, he was a natural, a working partner, a protector, a diamond in the rough. But the truest moment didn't come in the field. It came one stormy night when thunder shook the ranch, and Titan, trembling, chose to stay by Liam's side. One lick on the hand, one tearful whisper. "We made it, boy." From an unwanted auction reject to an unstoppable team, this is the story of how trust is built, how love is earned, and how even the most broken soul can find their way home. The air inside the auction barn was thick with the mingled scents of hay, sweat, and anticipation. Sunlight filtered through the slats in the wooden walls, casting long golden beams across the sawdust-covered floor. A chorus of lowing cattle, clanging gates, and the drone of the auctioneer's chant filled the space, creating a rhythm that pulsed with tension and commerce. In the middle of it all stood Liam Carter. He didn't quite belong, not in the way the others did. Most of the men wore press shirts tucked into starched jeans, leather belts with shiny buckles that told stories of prize bulls and big wins. Liam's clothes were clean but worn, practical. He wasn't here to show off. He was here because something in his gut had told him to come. He kept his hands in his pockets, trying not to fidget as he scanned the pens. Sheep, goats, cattle. They all came and went, snapped up by eager buyers barking bids with the confidence of seasoned traders. Liam barely noticed them. His attention kept drifting to the far end of the barn, to the last pen. That's where he saw him. A German shepherd, standing alone, pressed quietly against the metal gate. His fur was once bright, Liam could tell, but it had dulled with time and neglect. His posture wasn't aggressive, but it wasn't timid either. It was tired, like someone who'd waited too long for something that never came. The dog didn't bark, didn't whimper. He just watched. Liam felt something twist in his chest. He wasn't even sure why. Maybe it was the look in the dog's eyes, alert but hollow, as if life had knocked the wind out of him and he hadn't gotten it back yet. He knew that look. He'd seen it in the mirror before. The auctioneer's voice rang out, jolting Liam from his thoughts. "All right, last one of the day, folks. Purebred German shepherd, used to herd cattle, good genes. Make an offer." No one did. A few buyers glanced at the pen, then looked away, uninterested. A couple chuckled. One man shook his head and muttered something about damaged goods. The auctioneer tried again. "Come on now, folks. This one's got experience. Just needs the right hand." Still, silence. Liam swallowed hard. He hadn't come here planning to buy anything. Hell, he barely had enough to keep his own small ranch afloat. But as he looked at that dog, really looked, something stirred in him. Not pity, recognition. He stepped forward just as the auctioneer began to lower his gavel. "I'll take him," Liam said, his voice louder than he meant it to be. Heads turned. The room shifted, eyes landing on the young man in the flannel shirt with curious, skeptical stares. The auctioneer paused mid-motion, squinting at Liam. "Starting bid's 50. Liam didn't blink. "I'll pay double." The whispers began immediately. "Who's that kid?" Must be a bleeding heart. Bet he doesn't even know what he's buying. Liam heard them, but he didn't care. He stepped closer to the pen, pulling a couple of crumpled bills from his back pocket. His heart thumped against his ribs as he approached the gate. The dog didn't move, but his ears lifted, just slightly, and his eyes locked with Liam's. In that instant, the world around them quieted. There was no auctioneer, no crowd, no noise, just two souls recognizing something in each other. Pain, endurance, hope, buried deep. The gate creaked open. Liam knelt down slowly, extending a hand. The dog didn't flinch. He took a step forward, nose twitching, before gently pressing his muzzle into Liam's palm. It wasn't trust. Not yet. But it was something. "You and me, bud," Liam murmured. "We've both been through it, huh?" The dog licked his hand, once, quick, like a question. Liam smiled. "Let's go home." He rose to his feet, leading the shepherd out of the pen as the crowd resumed its chatter, already moving on to other things. But for Liam, the day had just changed. He hadn't just brought home a dog. He had found a companion. And though he didn't know it yet, that decision, made in a dusty barn full of doubters, would be the start of something neither of them could have imagined. The drive home wound through narrow back roads, the kind lined with wild grass and leaning fences, where telephone poles cast long shadows across the cracked asphalt. The late afternoon sun dipped lower behind the hills, painting everything in a warm, orange haze. But inside the cab of Liam's pickup, the mood was anything but warm. Titan sat stiffly in the passenger seat, his back straight, shoulders locked. His head remained high, but his eyes never stopped moving, tracking each tree, each flicker of motion out the window. His body language was tense, like a soldier on unfamiliar ground. He didn't glance at Liam, didn't acknowledge the soft words spoken his way. "You're safe now, boy," Liam said again, quieter this time. Titan blinked, but gave no other sign he heard. Liam didn't expect a miracle. Trust wasn't something given freely, not when it had already been broken. He kept both hands on the wheel, driving slow, careful not to startle the dog beside him. The radio stayed off. The silence felt thick, but necessary. By the time they reached the ranch, the sun was barely a sliver on the horizon. Liam pulled the truck up beside the barn, gravel crunching under the tires. He killed the engine and looked over. Titan didn't move. His body stayed rigid, tail tucked just slightly beneath him, eyes scanning the open field that stretched beyond the fence line. Liam opened his door and stepped out, boots hitting the dirt with a soft thud. He circled the truck slowly and opened the passenger door. Still, Titan didn't budge. "No rush," Liam said gently. "Take your time." He didn't try to coax him out. He didn't raise his voice or pat his leg or use that high-pitched tone people always used when they talked to dogs. Instead, he turned and walked away, heading toward the house with slow, deliberate steps. The door creaked open behind him, but he didn't look back. Not yet. Only when he reached the porch and turned to sit on the top step did he see Titan, paw by paw, stepping down from the truck. The dog's nose twitched as he lowered his head to the ground, sniffing the dirt, the grass, the worn trail to the house. His steps were light, wary. The shepherd didn't follow Liam directly. He circled the yard, checking the fence line, nosing at the gate, moving like a patrolman rather than a guest. Liam watched in silence, heart tugging at the sight. There was no joy in Titan's movements, only duty, as if even now he couldn't let his guard down. Inside the house, Liam moved slowly, giving Titan space. He set down a clean bowl of water and filled another with kibble. Then he laid out an old dog bed in front of the fireplace, fluffed it with a touch of hope. The fire crackled softly, casting flickering light across the room as dusk turned to night. Titan stepped through the front door with cautious grace, his nails clicking on the hardwood floor. He paused, took in the space with a long stare, and then moved. Not to the bed, but to the darkest corner of the living room, just beside an old bookshelf. There he lay down, curling into a tight ball, his back against the wall. Liam's chest ached at the sight. He didn't say anything, just knelt down a few feet away and placed the bowls between them. The water shimmered in the firelight. The food gave off a faint, earthy scent. Titan didn't move. "It's okay," Liam said quietly. "No one's gonna hurt you here." Still nothing. Minutes passed. Liam sat on the floor for a while, legs crossed, just listening to the fire crackle and the occasional sigh of wind against the windows. When he finally stood and turned away, he heard the softest rustle. Titan was eating, but only now that Liam's back was turned. It was a small thing, but it was something. Later that night, Liam lay in his bed upstairs, listening to the sounds of the house settling. Below, Titan didn't make a sound, not even a shift. It was as if he'd disappeared into the shadows. But Liam knew he was there, watching, waiting, surviving. And Liam made a quiet vow in the dark to earn that dog's trust, no matter how long it took, because no one should have to live the rest of their life afraid of the next hand that reaches for them. The days blurred together in a quiet rhythm of routine and restraint. Every morning, Liam rose with the sun and worked until dusk, moving through the motions of ranch life, mending fences, tending to the small garden, checking the livestock. Titan followed, always at a distance, never too close, never too far, like a shadow that didn't quite trust the light. He was watchful, always watchful. Liam pretended not to notice most of the time. He figured if he made a show of it, the dog would disappear again into that protective shell. So he let Titan exist on his own terms, offering space instead of pressure, patience instead of commands. It was hard. Liam ached to reach out, to pet the dog behind his ears, to toss a ball and laugh when Titan fetched it with that eager, joyful gait German shepherds were known for. But Titan wasn't there yet. He flinched at sudden noises, the creak of the gate, the clatter of a dropped tool. He slipped behind furniture when visitors came by. He ate only when the house was still, when Liam had turned his back or stepped out, and he avoided touch like it burned. But he was always watching. From the porch, from behind the shed, from the top of the hill near the barn. Wherever Liam went, Titan's eyes followed. There were small signs, though, little things. One night, Liam found Titan sleeping slightly closer to the hearth than usual. Another day, the dog let the screen door swing shut behind him without darting back outside. These were barely noticeable shifts, but Liam saw them, and he held on to them. Then, on a warm evening at the edge of spring, something shifted. Liam was out by the north pasture, kneeling beside a sagging post, tightening the wire where a young calf had gotten curious earlier in the day. The sky was a canvas of soft gold and lavender, the sun melting behind the hills. Crickets chirped in the tall grass, and the breeze carried the sweet scent of honeysuckle. He didn't hear Titan approach at first, but then a soft whine, so faint he almost missed it. Liam turned, expecting to see the dog lingering at his usual distance. But Titan was close, only a few feet away, standing on the edge of the fence line, a frayed rope toy clenched gently in his jaws. The toy was old, something from the box of forgotten things Liam had left on the porch weeks ago. He hadn't touched it since. Titan's ears were half raised, tail hanging low, eyes uncertain. Liam froze. His heart stuttered. "Hey, buddy," he said softly, slowly rising from his knees. "What you got there?" Titan didn't run. He didn't move closer either. Just stood, waiting, like he wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do, but he was doing it anyway. Liam crouched again, inching forward ever so slightly, hand outstretched. "You want to play, huh?" He reached for the rope, his fingers brushing the frayed end. Titan hesitated. The dog's muscles tensed for a second, but then His grip loosened just enough for Liam to take hold. They tugged gently, back and forth. No barking, no running. Just a quiet, unsure game of give and take. Titan's tail gave a twitch, then another, a hesitant wag. Liam smiled, his chest swelling with something warm and deep. "That's it," he whispered. "That's my good boy." It didn't last long. After a few seconds, Titan dropped the toy and backed away, settling back into the grass at a safer distance. But he didn't leave. He watched Liam with softer eyes now, his body no longer coiled tight like a spring. Liam didn't push for more. He picked up the rope and set it beside him as he returned to the fence. He worked in silence, letting the moment settle between them. And Titan stayed, quiet, still, but there. That night, Liam found the rope toy near the fireplace, gently placed. It wasn't just a toy. It was trust, the smallest of olive branches. And to Liam, it might as well have been a handshake, a whispered promise. "I want to try." And so the wall between them, once solid and tall, began to crack, just enough for the light to peek through. Spring had fully taken hold of the valley, painting the fields in rich greens and dotted yellows. The days were longer now, the sun warmer, the wind kinder. With it came the work, endless and honest. Fences to mend, calves to tag, pastures to rotate. It was the kind of life Liam had always known. Demanding, quiet, deeply satisfying. Titan had begun to settle into the rhythm. He still kept his distance sometimes, but that invisible wall between them was thinning. He followed Liam more closely now, and there were even mornings when Liam would find him waiting by the door, tail thumping softly as if to say, "Ready when you are." Still, Liam had no expectations. He didn't ask for tricks or tests. If Titan never herded a single animal, it wouldn't matter. The dog had already proven enough. His quiet loyalty, his slow-growing trust, the courage it took to stay. Then came the day everything changed. It started like any other. A group of cattle had wandered past a broken section of fence along the southern border. Liam saddled up and rode out, Titan loping behind him at an easy pace, his gait smooth and strong. As they reached the clearing, Liam cursed under his breath. The cattle were scattered, restless, their heads tossing at the scent of something distant. Maybe coyotes. Herding them back would take time and patience he didn't quite have that morning. He dismounted, coiling the reins around a fence post, preparing to guide the strays back on foot. Then a blur of motion. Titan, without so much as a word, sprang forward. Liam spun around, mouth opening to call him back, but stopped. Titan wasn't running wild. He was working. With the speed of a bullet and the grace of a dancer, he moved in wide, calculated arcs, pushing the cattle gently but firmly into a tighter group. His body was low, tail level, eyes locked onto the herd like a general surveying his troops. He darted left to cut off a stray, then looped around to nudge another from the rear. There was no barking, no chaos, just pure instinctive precision. Liam stood in stunned silence, watching the dog become something more. A low whistle came from behind. He turned to see Old Man Harris, a seasoned rancher whose own dogs were known to win ribbons at state fairs. He leaned against his rusted pickup, arms crossed, eyebrows high. "That dog's got champion blood in him, son," Harris said, shaking his head in wonder. "You've got a diamond in the rough." Liam didn't answer at first. His throat was thick. His hands tightened around the fence post, not from tension, but from awe. Titan completed the loop, corralled the last calf, and trotted back toward Liam. Not panting, not overworked, just proud, steady. The shepherd paused a few feet away, ears perked, tongue lolling slightly. For a brief second, his eyes met Liam's. It was like the walls were gone. Liam stepped forward and reached out, and this time Titan leaned in, let his head rest against Liam's palm, a gesture of connection, of arrival. "You were born for this," Liam whispered, voice barely above the breeze. Titan's tail gave a gentle wag, and Liam smiled, slow, genuine, full of something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. This wasn't just some rescue dog clinging to survival anymore. This was a working dog, a partner, a protector. Whatever life had done to break him before, it hadn't won. And Liam knew, as sure as the sun rose each day, that this was only the beginning. They weren't just healing. They were becoming something unstoppable. Together they'd prove it, to the ranchers who'd doubted, to the world that had turned its back on Titan, and most importantly, to themselves. Not every diamond shines from the start. Some just need the right hands to bring out the light. The skies turned angry that evening, clouds rolling in like dark waves across the horizon. The wind howled through the trees, bending branches until they groaned in protest, the kind of storm that rattled windows and soaked the earth within minutes. Liam stood on the porch, eyes scanning the darkening sky, the scent of rain thick in the air. "Looks like a rough one, boy," he muttered, glancing down. Titan was already there beside him. The shepherd stood still, ears pricked, body tense. He wasn't looking at the storm. He was watching Liam. In the early days, Titan would have hidden under the porch or slunk into a dark corner at the first sign of thunder. Noise used to unravel him. Sudden crashes in the distance would send him scrambling for safety, haunted by memories Liam could only imagine. But tonight, something was different. When the first crack of thunder split the sky, Titan flinched, but didn't run. Instead, he pressed closer to Liam's side, his body brushing against his leg, trembling ever so slightly. Liam's breath caught. "Hey, it's all right," he said, lowering himself slowly. "You're okay." Rain started to fall, heavy and fast. Liam opened the door and motioned for Titan to come inside. The dog didn't hesitate. Once inside, Titan followed him to the living room, sticking close enough that Liam could feel his warmth. The storm raged outside. Lightning flared through the windows. Thunder bellowed overhead. But Titan didn't leave his side. Liam sat down on the rug near the hearth, the fire flickering low. Titan curled beside him, close enough that Liam could hear his breathing. It was shallow at first, uncertain. Then something happened that undid Liam completely. Titan lifted his head and gently licked Liam's hand. Not out of habit, not out of submission, but out of choice. Liam froze, overcome with emotion. That single tender gesture, a moment of trust so pure it broke down whatever pieces of the wall still stood between them. Tears welled in his eyes and he let them fall freely, uncaring. He cupped Titan's head and rested his forehead gently against the dog's. "We made it, boy," he whispered, voice choked with emotion. "We really made it." For a long while they stayed like that, man and dog, two souls who had walked through pain and found something whole on the other side. The storm continued to roar, wind shaking the old house, but inside there was only peace. Titan didn't move. He didn't tremble. He simply stayed. And when the storm finally passed in the dead of night, he laid his head on Liam's lap and drifted off to sleep, trusting Liam to watch over him the way Liam knew Titan always would in return. By dawn, the sky had cleared. The land was soaked, the trees dripping with dew, the sun just beginning to rise in soft gold behind the hills. Liam stood on the porch again, a steaming mug of coffee in hand, the world washed clean by the night's fury. Titan stood beside him, not behind him, not at a distance, but at his side, proud and tall, no longer a shadow, no longer a stray soul looking for shelter. He was a partner now, an equal. Liam rested a hand on his head, and this time Titan leaned into the touch with confidence. From a forgotten pen at a livestock auction to this quiet morning of shared strength, their story had been one of patience, pain, and unspoken love. They had found each other in the ruins. They had built something strong from the broken pieces. And now their journey was just beginning. Because real stories, the ones that last, don't end when the storm clears. They begin when the sun rises.